Welcome to a Parallel Project Training, APM Project Management Qualification podcast based on the APM Body of Knowledge 7th edition. You should be using this in conjunction with our e-learning, podcasts, and potentially a tutor-led course. For more information, please visit www.parallelprojecttraining.com.
Hello, welcome to another podcast with John Bolton and Paul Neighbour. Hi, John.
Hello.
So we're up to estimating.
Yep,
This is probably quite a tricky, the most emotive topic in the whole blooming course. How much is it going to cost me?
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Oh, so it's not that. Yeah, people. When you run these courses, but I find it amazing that people have a problem with estimating, because it's like, to me, it's like dead simple.
Yeah, but it's simple to get it wrong.
Yeah. It's easy to get estimating wrong.
Yes.
But I mean, the
processes are too simple.
Yeah, but what's in the syllabus is relatively straightforward.
Yes, but they're expecting some magic. Yeah. They've come on this 5-day course, and this is the
blinding ray of wisdom.
The conversion.
You'll always be right.
Yes. I'm expecting. I think the key to good estimating is scope. Actually.
Yeah.
If your scope is uncertain, your estimate's bound to be wrong.
I think the key to good estimating is realising you are going to be wrong.
Yes, it's true. An estimate is only an estimate.
If you look, I looked it up in the Oxford English Dictionary. You know, if you look up estimating in the Oxford English Dictionary, it says an approximation. An approximation, yes. Right? So then I looked up approximation. What do you think it said?
An estimate.
No, it said wrong.
Wrong.
But close enough to be useful.
So an estimate
that sums it up to me
so
completely.
An estimate is an approximation that's close enough to be useful. Yeah.
Oh, that's brilliant.
And I think people, when they present their business cases, it goes back to that business as usual. If you're an operations director in a business as usual, then you know the price and cost of everything. And you need to, in that washing machine factory, you need to know what everything costs to the nearest nickel and dime because your margin's usually quite tight.
That's right. I mean, and if you're producing 1,000 washing machines, £1 on each one makes a difference.
Significant, yeah. And it's repeatable work items, so it's done it again and again. And I think what happens is we present a business case for a project and we say, well, this is our estimate for cost, and they expect the same level of precision in that estimate as you would give for a production environment. And I think that's the mistake we make, because it is just approximation that's going to be useful.
It's approximation, yes.
Yeah, so my approximate cost for this project is
the other thing,
£1 million. Well, what do you mean by approximate? Well, it's somewhere in that ballpark. Well, go away and come back with a proper answer.
If you went back to your boss and said, well, this is going to be somewhere between 3 and 27 million,
yes,
they'll probably go, don't be stupid, I need a better number than that.
Well, okay, let me do the next stage of the project.
Well, that's fair enough. Oh, that's fair enough, isn't it? But to try and get to a point where you say, that, okay, this is going to be £11,721,214.08.
Yes.
It's going to be wrong. Almost certainly. I don't even know what it is, and it's almost certainly going to be wrong because you're just trying to be too accurate.
Yes, and I've made that mistake in my career. If I think back, I stood there confidently, said, we're going to spend £1,064,000 on this project. Oh, God. I just wish I hadn't.
You got a lot of grief for that.
The biggest grief I had included contingency.
Yeah. Oh, well, let's not go there.
Right, so we've discussed the estimating funnel actually already.
Well, the point is, the estimating funnel is all about the fact the further you go into the future, the less you know about what the final outturn is going to be. So if you know what you're going to do at the weekend,
yes,
but you don't know what you're going to do on the 4th of June 2027, do you?
Yes.
So the further you go into the future, the less certainty there is. And that's just the way it is.
Yes. But that's true for business as usual, but it's especially true for projects.
Yeah, but there's less and more predictable uncertainty. So raw materials, energy prices, inflation, things like that are more bedded in well understood quantitative numbers.
Yes.
Whereas a project, because it's starting from scratch and you've got a bunch of people you never met before, working in an environment you've never been in before, there's so much more uncertainty of an unpredictable and diverse nature. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot can go wrong. Mm-hmm. But generally speaking, as you go through the project, so you understand more about those things, that diversity and that uncertainty, that you can start to determine trends on how things are going. Therefore, you can become more accurate in forecasting. So you can start to develop your forecast as you go, and that forecast becomes ever increasingly more accurate. So The truth is, you only ever know how much something costs just after you finished it, which is a fat lot of use if you want to plan.
Or bid.
Or bid, yeah.
Or bid for work.
But the truth, yeah, that's right. But the truth is, so what people do is they wrap up these bids and these estimates with assumptions and risks and all the rest of it. But that sort of demonstrates their uncertainty.
Yes.
You know, you can sort of judge people's uncertainty by the amount of assumptions and risks they add on.
Yes.
People want enough certainty to be able to make a rational decision.
Yes.
What they don't like is like a divergence from that. Mm-hmm. But so, and then the other question is, you know, estimates are always predicated on change. So if you change the design or the scope or something else, then your estimates will change. Mm-hmm. And is that wrong or right? You know, just because you've spent 5 million instead of 1 million, the customer may actually have got what they wanted and was prepared to pay it. Does that make it successful or unsuccessful? Don't know. But
well, that's coming back to the agile. So the agile thing,
you
fix the cost and you vary the scope.
That's
to
right.
fit within the cost.
Yeah.
So we've got 6 weeks and 5 people to do this. What can we deliver within that?
Because that's what traditionally happens. When you get to the end of the project, you start running out of money, you stop doing things.
Yeah. And I often think actually it'd be better to de-scope much earlier and get down to the core minimum functionality.
We're
off-piste anyway. Let's stick with
90% of what you want, isn't it?
Yeah. So in the book, we talk about what can make things go wrong. So incorrect assumptions.
Yeah.
So I've assumed that I'm going to get this resource. I'm assumed that another project is going to deliver something that I can use, and they don't, or the resource is not available. Change of circumstances. That could be external, couldn't it? Like pestle changes, political, economic, sociological changes.
Yeah.
Inflation. Something that's beyond your control, really. Unnecessary contingency. See, this is back to me. My unnecessary contingency or poor work.
Well,
the quality work costs you a fortune, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. The trouble with contingency is it's compounded. You know, if I said to you, if we knew that a task was a 4-day task,
yes,
and I asked you to do it, you'd probably quote me a week.
Yes.
If you've got an 11-day, if you've got a 12-day task, someone's probably not going to quote you 10. They're probably going to quote you 3.
Yes. Who owns the contingency?
That's right. So what happens is that extra little bit of fat gets added up and added up and added up. But it's not contingency anymore. It's just inefficiency.
It's hidden fat.
It's hidden fat, and that's what critical change tries to get rid of.
Yes, that's right.
You know, so the job of the project manager really is to make sure that they've got the raw estimates.
It doesn't stop you adding contingency afterwards. The mistake I made with my estimate was I exposed the contingency to the directors. And that was that they were not used to seeing it. They I should have been better off hiding it in all the tasks. Which is not
the problem with contingency is that if that task is 4 days and you quote me 5, I give you a plan that says 5, it will take 5. It won't take 4.
Yeah.
So you're building in all that inefficiency. Anyway, there's subjectivity.
Oh, what do you mean by that?
Oh, we're all subject to biases, aren't we? Like you hear people talk about optimism bias and pessimism bias, and we tried that before and it didn't work, so I better add some extra numbers in, or, you know, I'm going to double the cost because I know it always goes wrong.
That's right. I had a team member I used to take their cost and double it.
Yeah.
And then some team members I'd take their cost and take 20% off it because they...
But there is a subconscious element to it as well, you know, where optimism and pessimism are things you do without realising it.
Yeah.
You know, and so if you said 4 days or 5 days, you're kind of consciously making it 5, but subjectivity and biases is where you're unconsciously doing it. And, it's really, really difficult to get around that one.
Not knowing who's going to do the work.
Yeah.
So you've got to try and estimate the cost of a piece of work. You've got a contractor who's going to come and do it. The contractor gives you a quote, and the quote's more than your original estimate.
Yeah, but it's also, bearing in mind, some jobs, they might be years between when you write the proposal and when you do the work.
Yes.
And you get onto the job, and instead of getting a senior guy, you've got a graduate, bless them, you know, but they're inexperienced, haven't done it before, and they look at you, you know, go, well, you've got 3 weeks to do that. And they go, you're having a laugh. I can't do that in 3 weeks. So there's a whole bunch of stuff around, you know, you don't know who to ask. You don't know who's going to do it. There might be a big time slip between doing the estimate and doing the work and all that stuff.
You can go the other way, actually. You can have assumed that a graduate's going to do it, nice and cheap resource. Then there's no graduates available. You have to get a blooming senior person.
Senior guy, yeah.
Really expensive.
Exactly.
Takes them just as long.
Yeah, the other thing is you get is, sometimes there'll be a new process or something that comes that actually speeds things up, radically speeds things up. We used to have this all the time with someone would invent they used to call them 4G tools, software tools. So instead of hand coding something, you get a little front end and you go and it spits all the code out for you.
Okay.
And it speeds things up,
Wow.
But you needed a different type of person to do that. So you quoted on one type of
programmer
process and you always have
the analyst.
Yeah. And then
lack of data.
This is the big one, isn't it, really?
So you've never done it before, so you've got no data. So this is where, back to our business, the more you've done that type of project before, the better your estimate's going to be.
Yeah. And the other thing you need to remember is it costs money to get estimates.
Yeah. So there's different techniques we can use: parametric, analogous, analytical, and Delphi.
We had a big discussion about how to spell analogous, actually.
Analogous.
Well, it's analogous or analogous.
Parametric. So that's a measure per unit. So much per mile,
in its
or
simplest,
so much per
in its simplest form. This
meter.
is what this seems to work. So
I was using the example of carpeting a room. If you were to carpet a room, how much would it cost? Well, you measure the size of the room, and it's £20 per metre.
That's right.
And so that's a parametric measure.
Mile of railway track's £1 million, 100 miles, 100 million quid. That doesn't mean every mile is going to be £1 million.
No.
But on average, that seems to work.
Yeah.
And then analogous is where you compare. You're drawing analogies between
projects.
one project and another.
Rules of thumb. Last time
rule of thumb's different.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, no, rule of thumb is just, that looks about right.
Yeah.
Because the old shipbuilders, shipwrights, wasn't it? No, analogous is where I've got some hard and fast data about a previous project.
Okay.
And I can compare with
one project to another project.
Yes. So really useful in a business case, isn't it?
Yes.
Like I'm gonna implement this software system in a new customer.
Yeah.
Roughly the same customer we spent. It was £1 million, so it'll be about £1 million.
Yeah.
So when you do your bottom up estimate, you compare one against the other, and it should come out about the same.
Yeah. You're right about business cases, because in a business case you've got options, and you're not going to do a bottom up cost for each option.
No,
but
that's right.
So you can use analogous estimate.
So that's right. Analogous is really good up the front of a project.
Yeah.
Parametric is good once you know a lot of the detail.
Yeah.
The next one, which is analytical, or used to be called bottom up.
Oh, yes.
So your analytical estimate is where you know you've got a fair degree of detail, but then you can aggregate it up into the top level.
Yeah, so you price up each work package.
That's right.
Sometimes that might be where you get a quotation from a supplier for each work package. And you can add up all those quotations, and that probably gives you a reasonably good estimate.
It used to scare me rigid doing these.
Oh, why?
Well, it just seems to put the price up.
Oh, it always does.
Yeah, because you've got, you are actually flushing out all of the detail.
Yes.
It always needed doing, but you kind of ignored it.
Did you?
Because because it would make it number too big.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So sometimes you get efficiencies. So if you've got two work packages, you might have 3 people working on both of them, but actually you might get away with 5 people doing both. Things like that.
So,
and in real life, you don't actually need
do that inefficiently.
Yeah, you don't need as much.
Well, you don't have the contingency on contingency issue.
That's the other problem. Yeah.
So everybody builds a bit flat in at each layer of the.
When you actually get onto the ground, you think, actually, do you know what? If I put those two groups of people in the same building, I can save a lot of money on rental costs or something.
Yeah.
So you find that in the fullness of time, it does come down a little bit, but when you do it initially, it scares you witless.
So Delphi is consulting experts, is it?
Place in Greece, isn't it?
Place in Greece, yeah.
Home of the Oracle.
So consulting the oracles.
Yeah.
Going out and finding people who've done it before.
Yeah.
Do you consult one oracle or multiple?
Wasn't it a many-headed? It lived in a cave.
It was a lady.
It lived in a cave.
No, not it. It's a lady.
Lady. That was
yes,
God.
A she. No, she was a lady.
Was she?
Yes.
Okay.
She smoked.
No, she didn't. No,
yes, she did.
No, the cave is full of all those noxious gases.
No, yes.
It is.
Yes.
She didn't smoke. She didn't stand there
apparently,
puffing away from 40
I've learned
Benston
more
edges.
about this. Someone from Greece came on one of my courses. He told me it was bay leaves.
Bay leaves, that's right.
Bay leaves. She
That's
smoked bay leaves, and she was whacked out of her brain.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, gosh.
So you go and consult the oracle.
I've met a few project managers like that.
Yeah. So the oracle was in ancient Greece was the voice of God. So she represented the voice of God.
Oh, yes, I wrote that down. Yes,
Did
here it
you?
is, yes. Where the voice of Apollo
Voice of
was
Apollo.
prophesied.
That's right.
That's right.
And then you had to pay the high priest a huge amount of money to
tell you what your future
tell
held.
you what your future held.
That's right.
So the Delphi is you pay consultants lots and lots of money to tell you what the future holds for you.
Yes.
Well, you consult experts anyway. A group of experts.
Rand Corporation. We need to make sure that it's ascribed to the right. Rand Corporation, 1950s.
Okay, invented Delphi.
So what they said, and people, what Rand said was actually slightly different from a lot of people's understanding, because what they said was that you provide some questions
Yes.
to groups of experts,
Yes.
and they independently go and come up with what they think the answer is. And then they come together,
Yes.
discuss it, refine it, go away, and you keep on repeat as
Iteratively,
necessary.
yes,
And
to
eventually,
consensus.
and that's the point, you end up with a consensus, not a vote.
Yes.
So actually everybody is happy with the answer.
Yes. Yes.
And of course it takes ages.
No one's ever paid me to do a Delphi study. One of these days, I'm going to do a Delphic study or something.
Someone told me
reckon
they
I'll
did it
never
for
finish.
someone told me they did it for the
Brexit.
space shuttle.
Did
You
they?
know, the one that blew up in the upper atmosphere. They weren't quite sure why.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they asked all the different universities all around the world
Okay.
potential solutions, because they really didn't know.
Uh-huh.
And then they whittled it all down. So it was like got struck by lightning or
Yeah.
lost a tile or something, you know. And eventually they all concluded it was because one of the tiles came off. And then when they looked at the video, they saw the tile coming off.
Okay.
So they're still not 100% sure, but the chances are, the probabilities are that that's what caused it.
Yeah.
And that's, someone told me, I don't know if it's true or not, but it sounds plausible. And it's a good way of describing what this is all about.
So you use a combination of these techniques. That's the key thing here.
Yep.
So some bits you'll have good parametric models for. Some bits you will have done lots of times before, so you can use your analogous estimates.
Yeah.
Some bits you'll have bottom-up quotes from contractors.
Yep.
Or people who work for you.
Yep.
And sometimes you might not believe what the people who work for you tell you. And
Really?
sometimes you might go and do Delphi studies. So basically, you take all this data and you try and
Manipulate it, aggregate it,
aggregate the
filter
word,
it, sift it,
aggregates the
sort
word,
it. Yeah.
to end up with what you believe is the definitive or the best estimate that you can come up with given the information that you've got and the assumptions that you've made.
I think it's a real shame they've taken 3-point out of here.
Yeah,
You used to do 3-point
you did.
estimating.
You did.
That was one of the best ways. Get 3 different estimates.
Yes, especially for R&D type projects.
Yeah. So if anyone in the APM's listening, can you put a 3-point back? 'Cause it's really good.
BoK7, please.
Well, it also leads on to all the Monte Carlo stuff, the
Yes.
quantitative risk assessments, that sort
Yeah.
of thing. So there's no feed into that anymore. But anyway, we diverge.
Good. Thank you, John.
Pleasure.
Speak to you soon.
We hope you enjoyed this podcast and found it informative. To find out about our training courses, e-learning, or tutor-led course, please go to www.parallelprojecttraining.com.